Holy crap, people. We're back for another review for Dark Side of the Ring, brought to you by Vice TV. And this episode, every episode is giving you something different. And this episode here is a bit like, I had a good feeling, even for this to have happened in 1998, and I was much younger. Like, I had a good feeling that this was just a piece of crap. Sure, it was intense and as gruesome as it is even watching now as a child, and sure you cheered and you were entertained, but now as an adult knowing more about brain injuries and just absolute combat sports period, like holy crap, this hearing the story from this, I definitely learned a lot. But anyway, we're talking about episode 3, and we're talking about the Brawl for All, which is absolutely notated as the stupidest idea in professional wrestling, and that it is. And just, this was a story that, even as a child, you knew that, you knew right from wrong, and you just knew, the way some of these people were being knocked out. I mean, sure, we grew up in a Tyson era, but Tyson was doing that in the boxing ring, and these people were boxers. But then you got people who were wrestlers, and their footwork, everything is all sloppy, and nonetheless, people are still being knocked down even worse. Like, it was a lot. But this, hearing the story, hearing how it all came about was just absolutely crazy. But you guys definitely got to check this out. But anyway, let's talk about this really quick. So again, this was 1998, and this was WWE's idea of doing something unscripted. Right, we'll talk about why quotation marks on unscripted, because it's still wrestling regardless. There's always some script to it. It's always some overall booking or plan that's intertwined with that. And when this truly affects somebody's life, such as Bart Gunn, who was the winner of Brawl for All, and just hearing the story, first of all, much kudos to this guy. A true champion, a true competitor, a true warrior, that even to this day now, he still hangs his head up high. Of course, he as a true athlete, his criticism on himself about some things he could have did different, regardless how bad this was and how much they just really didn't care about him. And this was a guy that they didn't want to win, and he did win. It didn't have anything to do for him. He still stayed optimistic and so on. I mean, I guess the biggest victory is that this guy is still alive, and he's still, more or less healthy, because a lot of people suffered career-ending injuries during this little tournament, 16-man tournament. That was just the worst idea. So anyway, this was, Vince Russo's idea. Vince Russo, who was just writing in the magazine at the time, got a promotion, and this guy was completely motivated by back then reality TV. So the Jerry Springers and stuff of the world, and they, because of what Jerry Springer sort of say their audience and what it entices, they're like, well, why don't we do something that's a little bit unscripted? And a combination of that idea with the idea of JBL, who was known as one of the biggest tough guys in the locker room, always flapping his mouth at everybody. Vince Russo wanted a way to shut him up, so JBL said, I feel like I could beat anybody in this locker room if this was real, and so thus they came out with this tournament, Vince approved, and there you go. A stupid idea that drastically hurt and it changed so many people's lives. So it's crazy. It's legitimate boxing in the wrestling ring. 16 competitors who were wrestlers, who wasn't real boxers, who got in there brawling, because it was definitely no boxing going on, and people were going and being knocked down by fly. I mean, people had real legit injuries, from head injuries to torn ligaments and everything. This was just bad. It was bad. One thing I will say is, like, never knew about the Godfather's shoot job working at a strip club, and he wasn't a big fan of pimps. I had no clue about that. Nonetheless, he was a legit bad guy. He said they didn't like pimps, and people who came into his job that were pimps, he would straight knock them out. So he was all for this. But nonetheless, this was a tournament that was kind of designated for people that was like, we don't have anything going for them, so let's kind of put them in a situation that we can start building stuff around for them. And even still to this day, this is WWE's only prize tournament, which I think the winner ever won $75,000. So I'm not sure how that weighed against people salaries for the year, but here or there, $75,000 is still a lot on any given day. But yeah, like a legit boxing tournament, and even though this was truly an idea that started Vince Russo, and then the idea to try to get a particular person over, it completely blew up in their face because Bart Gunn came out of nowhere and ended up being the underdog, beating every single body that was put in front of him. JBL, The Godfather, just anybody, Dr. Death. So they didn't know what to do. And that's truly a legitimate statement. They didn't know what to do, so the guy just sat at home and they didn't have any booking for him. Well, this was supposed to be like a jump start to his career, and it wasn't. So anyway, because they didn't know what to do, because of the motivation, the momentum that he potentially could have had, Vince, which this is the most grueling part of the story for me, Vince's idea was like, hey, how about we have him face Butterbean? If anybody don't know who Butterbean is, it's a short, stubby guy who has no type of technique in boxing, but his knockout power is unlimited. A legit boxer. Vince's idea was to pair a wrestler who won a brawling competition in WWE, WWF, and put a legitimate heavyweight boxer in Butterbean with 50 legit fights and wins under his belt for WrestleMania. If this doesn't sound like traditional Vince McMahon, I don't know what. Butterbean, the part that really got me is that when they said that when Bart walked past, Butterbean walked past Vince on going out to the ring, Vince gave him this look, like a smirk, like get the job done, like it was a hit, like it was a care package, like this guy, this legit got 5 kill streaks on Call of Duty and brought in this, and next thing you know, the AC-130 was available for him, and he knocked out the whole team. This is the type of power and type of calling Butterbean was. And when you look back at that match that went like that, oh, it was a massacre. Butterbean said that his child even said that, yeah, my friends were watching on TV and you killed the guy on TV. Yeah, when you see that head snap, oh my goodness, it's crazy. They also had so the people that spoke, because again it's a documentary, so you had interviews and testimonies by people. The one thing I want to talk about is Draws, who was one of the wrestlers that was in the tournament as well too. Seeing him current date in the wheelchair, had no clue. I really didn't know. First of all, Draws was a character that I truly remember as a child in the ring, but he took a power driver from D'Lo Brown and ended up breaking his neck, and he's been in the wheelchair since. It's wrestling. We understand that, things happen. It's great to see the two of them both in high spirits, still good friends, and and being positive about that. But hearing Draw's story about it, about the Brawl for All, and just seeing him current day, man, that was shocking. And D'Lo Brown back again, being able to tell his share of the story as he was there last week as well too. But ultimately, while I just talk so much about Brawl for All and that tournament, about how stupid it was, and you guys can watch the documentary and find out more, this thing so quickly became the story of the beef between Jim Cornette and Vince Russo. To this day, these people still do not like each other, and they made it apparently clear again on the documentary about the disagreements with each other. Jim Cornette obviously thinks that Vince Russo's idea of doing this is absolutely stupid, and the fact that Vince Russo still had no idea that he completely messed up plenty of people's careers just because of this one little thing he wanted to do. And Vince Russo mad at Jim Cornette because of the threats that he made and how he was taking it too serious over wrestling. It's a lie. It's sloppy. If you want more of that story, go to Twitter all day, every day, because they are still unhappy. I'm not surprised right now if I'm recording this, if I can pull up something and they're just going at it right now. But that it was a lot, and I really can't believe that Jerry Springer was a lot of the motivation for that. Jerry was hot back in the day, I get it, but like, these are two different worlds, and these are people's careers and lives that was in stake, just for the simple fact that, like, hey, that's Draw, and I don't like this guy. Here's his idea I got. What do you think, Vince? Legitimate fighting, brawling, boxing in WWE, WWF, 16-man tournaments. 16-man tournament for a prize of $75,000, and a person that came under as an underdog and Bart Gunn wanted. They didn't have nothing to do for him, so they fed him to the dogs, gave him butterbean, and that was the end of his career. He was out of WWE, WWF at the time because they had nothing to do for him. And this just sucks because the guy was a true sport. He's still humble to this day. He has no ill will about any of it. He just wanted to just be able to go out there and entertain, and he got the short end of the stick. And like I said in the beginning, which I said we was going to come back to, it's still wrestling. It's always scripted. When the guy that they didn't want to win didn't win, well, they didn't have nothing for it to do it. The booking, there was no booking, there was no story to be told. They just set the guy at home, fed him to the dog. That was the end of the story. That was the ultimate way of getting rid of the guy, by feeding him to butterbean. It's absolutely crazy. But next week episode, we're going back intense because they're about to bring up the Jimmy Snuka story and the death of Nancy Argentina. I can't wait. This is a story I'm very, very curious where it's going to go as far as the knowledge and information that was never out there at the time, which now is probably going to be unveiled by Vice TV. So until next week, guys, stay tuned. We'll be reviewing that one too.